Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Above the Bar podcast, where each week we belly up to the bar with a new guest, find out what they do, who they are, and what makes them great. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Alrighty, folks, welcome back to the Above the Bar podcast. It's your host, Sean. We've bellied up to the bar today on this, I don't know what day it is in May. I think it's May, I don't know. I screw it up.
14th?
It's the 14th. I screw it up every time. But joining us from what could, who knows, might be the 51st state one day. And he looks like, yes. And he looks like he could be our version of the governor. So joining us from all the way up in the frozen north here, we're going to be talking about AI. Can it help you to get stronger inside and outside? That physical fitness that we all are in need of. It's Mr. Thom Lamb.
Thanks for having me, Sean. Really grateful to be here. I'd have an issue with that 51st state. I'm not going to lie to you, man. I'm not going to lie to you.
I got a buddy in Alberta
maple syrup and our Canadian bacon, and we're not sharing.
I got a buddy who's in Alberta, and he's all about it. He's like, yeah, no problem. I'm all about it. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, I'm all about it. He's like, I could give two shits.
Yeah, I'm in Ontario, and I don't know. We like our lake. We like the CN Tower. We like hockey.
I get it.
Anyway, I don't like hockey, to be honest, but some people.
I'm a lacrosse guy myself. Indoor box.
I was a big rugby player in
I can
university.
see that.
Yeah.
Sevens or 15.
15, yeah. And I played rugby for Royal Military College, so that's where I went to school before I served.
Up there by Montreal.
Yeah, so Kingston, so right between Montreal and Toronto, you know.
I know it only because and we'll sidebar before we even get into all the sponsors and everything.
Sure.
I used to work for Amtrak and take the train, and we used to go up to Montreal, and we used to go past the there was some kind of Royal Military College that we went past right there.
Well, there used to be one in Montreal out in Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu. It was a Collège Militaire Royal. There used to be 3 in Canada, and then we sold them so we could buy 5 canoes. But because we don't have as big of an army, that's kind of what I'm going for there. Anyways, so there used to be a college, and actually I went there to study French in my second year. Yeah. So Montreal is a beautiful city, by the way.
Montreal is pretty impressive, and that's I will sidebar. Like, everybody likes to talk about poutine and all those stuff, and poutine is pretty damn great, folks. Mm-hmm. But until you've had poutine with smoked meat on it, that is the poutine game changer.
Yeah.
Don't ask me what smoked meat actually is.
I don't think you want to know.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's the equivalent if you come to the States and somebody asks you if you want scrapple.
What?
Oh, yeah. Hold on.
What's that?
Stay with that thought for a second. Okay. Look, folks, we're going to be talking about how AI can help you get stronger inside and out. Thom wrote a program. We're going to be running it on the scroller at the bottom, Wilo.ai. Real quick, though, before we get too far, as always, over my right shoulder, if you're just joining us, we always talk about the sticker and a cause. This is my big board behind me that if you have something you're supporting, maybe you created, whatever it happens to be, maybe it's a band, maybe it's an AI, maybe it's another podcast, I don't care. You can reach out to us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. Our website is the Above the Bar Podcast.com. Our email is the Above the Bar Podcast @gmail.com. Reach out. Let me know what you got going on. I'll tell you where to send the sticker. You send the sticker to me. I put it up on the board and I read about you free so everybody can know what you got going on. Little free advertisement because everybody likes to belly up to the bar and see what's going on. Now that that part's done, let's talk about our sponsors. That's Budget Blinds of East Greenbush, Hudson, Coxsackie, and Schoharie, New York. Budget Blinds is North America's largest custom window treatment company. They're even up there in Canada with you, Thom. They have locations there. They are everything you could imagine for custom window treatments, whether that be drapery, shutters, shades. They do tint, you name it. If it's there to cover your windows, they can help you out. And if you're here in the capital region where I am of New York, you can go ahead and reach out. And if you tell them you're there to belly up to the bar, they're going to give you an extra 5% off your order. But on top of that, for this month, they're doing 20% off a product plus another 5% motorization. So if you tell them you're there to belly up to the bar, you got a chance of getting 30% off of your order. So make sure you're reaching out to Budget Blinds of East Greenbush, Hudson, Cooksaki, and Schoharie, New York. Your number one spot for finding window treatments. All right, Tom. So that's done. Oh, and for those that are watching us live right now, please take a moment, like, share, follow, whatever platform you're on. I know it sounds cliche. It really does make a difference. It does change things up for all of us. So Scrapple, you've never heard of Scrapple, huh?
No, I haven't.
So you ever heard that saying, from the rooter to the tutor?
Yeah, I have.
So Scrapple is from the rooter to the tutor.
All right.
It's everything off of a pig that's left over.
Oh.
And it's boiled.
Oh.
And then it's once it's boiled and cooked down, they then take it, and it almost looks like a pate. And then it's super heavily seasoned and made into these pieces. And in Maryland, where I grew up in Baltimore, Scrapple is super, super popular.
Well,
like, big deal.
Okay. I can see why you're a big fan of smoked meat, because it's not that. But it sounds, I mean, I would be down for a challenge. I mean, I remember I had to eat a 72-ounce steak at Louise. What was it called? Anyways, it was some Texas.
Yeah. Oh, you did the Texas, the old 72 challenge.
Longshore. No, what was it called?
No, I know what you're talking about.
It was one of those, places, endless onions and, endless suffering in the toilet after. So I smashed the 72. Actually, I don't think I did actually smash it. One of my buddies did. But every time you walk into a restaurant and you bring your ego, you're going to be walking out with a lot of Pepto-Bismol and shame. So
that was the one. I don't know. John Candy did that in the movie Uncle Buck.
Yeah,
he was a Canadian. There's another good Canadian for you. SCTV.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I love John Candy's stuff. It's amazing.
I'm definitely a fan. So we're going to be talking again. And look, folks, if you have a moment and you can look up Tom's Instagram, you should definitely do it. He's what I would lovingly call a big old boy. He a big old boy. So this is my brother's aunt. Yes, I knew Baltimore was coming into that comment. Absolutely, Rita.
Yeah.
We love our Scrapple. So, but you created now maybe you're gonna have to explain, because what is the difference between an algorithm and an AI? Let's start with that.
Oh boy. Okay, sure. Let's start with that. So AI is actually a blanket term that refers to any time we try to use computers to act like, I guess, like a human. Originally, there was machine learning, which would be stuff like, you remember when you go to log into Google and they say, tell me you're not a robot, and you got to pick all the little boxes? You're teaching a robot how to learn how to recognize a motorcycle. Okay? And
really? I never knew that.
Yeah, that's actually AI. Okay? And it's all just math. Every one of those little pixels has a number associated with it, and the computers learn how to look for the numbers that equal a motorcycle. So this generative AI stuff, the Chat GPT, all of these things that are in the news these days, that's basically taking huge amounts of the internet, and it's reading through it, and it's learning how to put words together in specific orders so it sounds almost like something a human would say. So it's basically a very, very powerful search. And that's what AI is for a layman. It's a tool that allows you to kind of use a computer, but interact with a natural language like English or French. It could also be really helpful for taking English words and turning them into French words. So stuff like that. An algorithm is just a discrete set of instructions that you can run 1,000,000 times, and the output would be exactly the same.
All right.
So it's like a clean rifle. You put a round in, you chamber it, and the same thing happens every single time. That's kind of an algorithm. So hopefully that helps.
The rifle analogy worked perfectly for me.
There you go.
That was one I can get behind. So you create this, and if we didn't get a chance to talk about it, if you see me looking to my left, it's because that's where my other screen is.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at all my notes and everything.
I created Wilo.ai, which is actually, it's very early beta right now. And what it does is it helps coaches, like people that design strength training programs.
Okay.
It helps them to write new strength training programs based on the ones they've written previously. So it just, a lot of coaches, they've got these core set of programs they want everyone to follow, and they need to adjust the weights for a client. Like, let's say one client can bench press 200 pounds, another client can only bench press 50 pounds. They have to go through like a spreadsheet and they have to tweak all the numbers, right? And it's tedious and takes a lot of time. And so they're sitting in front of a computer and they'd rather be out, talking to their clients about their problems and engaging with people. But instead, they're sitting here on a computer and they're, trying to figure out formulas to automate. It's ridiculous. So what Willow does is it takes all the programs you've written previously, it puts them into its brain, and it says, okay, well, tell me about this client. Well, this client can only bench press half as much. No problem. Bloop, and it gives you the program.
So now what I'm curious of, so I may not look it today, but I'm a big Dorian Yates fan.
Oh, hardcore. Yeah.
And that was my trainer. Let me read what he
trained
did.
With Dorian Yates?
No, God, I wish I would. No. My trainer was like reading shit that he did and going, okay.
And the guy that made Nautilus was one of his. You remember there was a guy before Dorian Yates, Ellington Darden.
And I don't remember that name.
He inspired Dorian. Sorry, I'm a geek about
Yeah, go ahead, please.
So, okay, I will. So the whole thing with Dorian Yates is he'd go in, he'd do one set of bent over rows, and he would basically throw up halfway through that set, and he'd be like, now let's start counting reps, right? Like his thing was intensity.
Yes.
I love that stuff.
So I had a really good friend who passed away about, I guess, God, I just saw it the other day. It's been two years since he passed.
Yeah.
And he was a power lifter.
Yeah.
And that was his mindset was, it was the funniest thing. We would go into the gym and if you were to see him, Jerry was like a short little squatty German guy.
Yeah.
And he would put 135 on the bar and people would be like, 135? But he would do 135 100 and some odd times.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
And by the time we were done, he was dry heaving on the gym floor.
Yeah.
And I would be sitting there and all I need to do was just sit next to him. Just like
make sure he doesn't die.
Just don't die. Lay on your side and dry heave.
Yeah.
And people would come by and be like, is he okay?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, yeah, he's fine. He's an idiot. He's just an idiot.
He's living his best life.
He is. So what I'm curious about though with this algorithm, because again, I can remember being in high school and my high school gym teacher, Mr. Salters, he would have us all go around and do a max of a weight.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
For one time max. And then he would build a plan for all of us.
Yeah.
Inside of Willow, is there like a preset plan, or can somebody say, hey, this guy is looking to increase here? How does it process the information?
Well, that's a great question. Right now, I'm only using Willow with like a few fitness coaches. So if you were to you can't log in right now and say I bench 400 pounds. You look like a pretty big guy. I don't know if you can bench for it.
I'm not pushing up 400.
Okay, maybe more smoked meat for you then.
I need more smoked meat to do that.
More protein. Anyways, but let's just say hey, I need a program. I can bench 350 and I want to bench 365. So right now, that's exactly the kind of thing that Willow will help the coach do, but it's all kind of behind the scenes.
Okay.
Because making tech companies is there's a little bit of work that goes into making a brand new tech company. And so divide and conquer, first thing I wanted to do was validate the idea by working with coaches that already have platforms and then just interacting with them and giving them the tools they need. And when we've seen that's working for a few hundred people, then we'll start rolling out a platform where you yourself could go and create an account and have programs. And at that point, that's exactly what you'd be able to do. You'd say, give me a program that does this. Give me a program that Tom probably would have designed for me. Because the other thing we want to do is we want to encapsulate and recreate the knowledge of trainers. Because there's a lot of there's the algorithm, there's the theories, and then there's trainers that have spent years working their trade, learning how to help people and being able to scale them so they can help more people. is I don't know if that makes sense, but
No, it does. It
yeah,
does.
yeah,
Like there's trainers out. So that was going to be one of my next questions. As you're building, like as you're putting this together,
yeah,
is that some of the goals is being able, we talked about Dorian Yates, and again, folks, if you don't know who Dorian is, go
yeah,
look him up. He's an absolute English psychopath
yeah,
who like he
yeah,
made his own protein drink and he's like, if it doesn't taste horrible, then it
yeah,
can't be good. Like
yeah,
that's his mindset.
yeah.
But what I was curious about though is that some of the things like I don't know how AI can work with some of this stuff. Is there a way like you could tell AI like, hey,
Give me a
go
Dorian.
out, go out and find all of Dorian Yates's workouts
Yes,
and build me a
that's
Dorian Yates workout?
exactly. Yeah, you nailed it. You nailed it. So you could say, look, I'm looking. I wish Dorian Yates could be my trainer. Can you just, based on what I'm trying to accomplish, can you take a look at all the programs he's ever written, put them together as we call that a corpus of knowledge.
Okay.
Okay, so a corpus of knowledge allows us to differentiate between, say, Dorian Yates' programs and Arnold Schwarzenegger's programs. Or if you wanted like the Wolf of Wall Street to be your financial advisor, you'd say, I
Oh,
need
okay.
this. I need the corpus of knowledge of like whatever that guy's name was, Jordan. I don't know. Anyways, maybe don't follow that guy's advice because I think he went to jail.
Yeah, he went to jail.
Yeah. Okay.
A lot
So
of cocaine involved there.
what I'm talking about here is, yeah, you could say like, let's talk to a virtual Dorian, and
Okay.
it's going to generate programs for you, much like you'd expect the real Dorian Yates would. And a little bit of a caveat on that.
Yeah, please.
It's an artificial, it is at the end of the day an algorithm. It's not a living, breathing human being. And of course, like human beings are inspired and are creative, and programs are going to just basically put data together based on previous creative work, if that makes any sense.
It does. And I was gonna say, so this is really more of an AGI, artificial general
General
intelligence.
intelligence.
Or no, excuse
So
me, not that wouldn't be AGI, it would be AI, because AGI is the next step, they say.
the AGI is something I think is probably at least 50 years away.
You think that far,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
I had a guy on who was like, we could see that in the next 2 to 3 years.
Well, I mean, as I understand it, and I have been.
You're way into it more than I am, so please.
Yeah, my background is I went to a few universities, and I even graduated from one of them. And mostly we talked about computers and math. So I've studied this thing for. I've been interested in computers my whole life, and I'm 51. And I've also been interested in strength training, and I have no neck. So like sometimes when I'm interested in things, I manage to do all right with them. That was a little bit of my ego. Apologies. But so general intelligence is basically like the AI could be on with you and me, and we wouldn't know that it's a computer. We'd think it's another guy named John.
Just hanging out.
That's what we call the Turing test. Okay, it's when you can't differentiate between a real and a synthetic intelligence. And I don't really this is just my personal opinion is that is much farther away than people think it is. But there's a significant part of the population that like trades in hype, and it likes to get people excited about things. And I don't see that there's anything wrong with that necessarily. But sometimes it can lead people to feel a lot of fear because it's like, okay, well, these robots are going to start walking around, taking our PIN cards and ripping off our grandmothers, and it's going to be, total mayhem. And I'm like, right now, every time I try to type in a certain word in my phone, it says duck. So I think we've got a ways to go.
It's got some time left on that one.
Yeah, I think we're okay.
It's interesting. So I want to kind of roll you back a little.
I won't use the F word, but yeah, okay.
It's all right. You can use the F word. But I want to roll you back a little bit in your history. So you were in the Canadian Armed Forces.
Canadian Armed Forces, yes, sir.
And I recently saw a thing. I didn't realize there's only like 75,000 people in the Canadian military.
Actually, I don't know the head count right now.
I saw something, and it kind of blew my mind because Camp Lejeune. So 20 years in the Marine Corps myself.
Yeah,
and there's like 100. Like the Marine Corps itself is like 180 some thousand.
Yeah, just the Marine Corps. Yeah.
And it was very surprising to me.
Yeah.
That entire thing. So with some of your history, obviously, in the services, we look at physical fitness as, like I tell people all the time, it's the only place you'll ever be in your life where you could be an absolute mouth breathing idiot
Yeah.
who can't do his job, and
Yeah.
somebody could be eating your lunch and being like, "You're an idiot, you're this, that, and the other," and you can look at him and be like, "But at least I get a 300 on my PFT," and,
Yeah.
like, that ends the entire conversation. If you don't know what a PFT is, folks, that's physical fitness test, but that ends the entire conversation. How
Yeah.
much of your interest in creating this program comes from that background of being in the service, going through that process? If you went to the college, I'm assuming you were an officer.
Yep. I
Yeah,
was.
I won't hold that against you. I mean,
I was
I'll
only a
use
lieutenant.
smaller words for you.
I barely made any rank. I made it to the esteemed rank of lieutenant, butter bar. So like,
Dude, that's like an 01 in the Marine.
yeah,
Like, you didn't get past the 01?
02. Yeah, I
So it's
guess.
02 for you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah. See, we would
yeah.
call that. We
I
would
made it
call
up.
that.
I made it 2 ranks up. I guess I was a private before that.
Okay, so you were enlisted in that and then became an officer.
Yeah, I was in the reserves. I was in 4th Battalion Royal Canadian Regiment.
Okay.
And then after I graduated, I served in the Combat Engineer, 1st Combat Engineer Regiment in
Nice.
1 Brigade.
Know how to blow stuff up.
So, yeah, in times of peace, the Canadian Army is pretty small. And the way we have handled that is that we have a number of reserve brigades. So for example, World War II, when it came time to actually support the Commonwealth, we stood up and we sent a tremendous amount of people over, especially per capita. And as you know, like we had because we had a lot of impact. So, but we're not the kind of country that maintains a standing army of any significance, although maybe, unfortunately, that might change in the near future. I hope not,
I don't
because
think
I'd
so.
rather spend tax dollars on other things, to be quite honest.
Listen, he
But
talks
that's
a
just
lot of shit. He
I know,
talks a
right?
lot. Don't worry about it. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
yeah, he's like one of my favorite wrestlers, but it was more entertaining when I was
He
watching.
was in WWE at one point.
Yeah, so it was entertaining, and now it's something else. But anyways,
So how much of
sorry,
this though did you see there and you were like, man, Private Banat really could benefit from a different
this?
fitness program that,
So-
and it's hard because in the services, there's one fitness program. It all works exactly the same.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, we're all doing the same thing at PT.
You know what? I'm really glad. Like you asked the question and then you came back and asked it a slightly different way. And it made me look at it a different way, and it really helped me to come up with an answer that I think that might be a kind of useful. Which is, I hated running, hated it. I was an engineer, so my job. I don't know if you know what a medium girder bridge is.
No, I don't.
Or if you guys have, I'm pretty sure the Marines have the bridge laying tanks.
Yep. Yeah, we used to. I don't know if we still use them or not, but I definitely know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So, there was the one bridge, and then there's also the Bailey Bridge.
Okay.
And we would literally be building bridges that are basically these like 400-pound steel Lego blocks, and they were a 4-man lift. So you'd be bringing a 100-pound clean and jerk all day long. Yeah. So that's, now, mind you, there's a few panels that are smaller. There's a few panels that are bigger. But yeah, the ability to do that is part of the job of being a sapper in the Canadian Forces.
Okay.
And yet our PT was run, march, run, march, run, march, run. And every now and then we'd throw a log on our shoulders. And then we get to a bridge build. And I liked the gym. So I was a power lifter since I was 16. So I wasn't great at the running, but when it came to getting like a top panel in place and getting that one pin through,
you were the man.
Was your guy. Yeah, I could overhead press 365 pounds. Yeah, I'm your guy. So I guess my whole point there was that early on I kind of learned that approaching fitness is a very individual path. Like there's the Army way, right? But I don't know about you, but after I got done in the Army, I was like, I ain't going to do anything physical for a while. I'm not going camping, and I'm not polishing my boots, and I'm not making my bed. And then I was like, okay, you know what? I kind of missed this stuff because I loved it. And then I wanted to get back in it. But one thing, and then after working with clients as a personal trainer, I realized like a lot of different people, they don't enjoy the gym. and it's kind of a shame because they could use it. So I wanted to, I kind of have always been looking for ways to help people not have just one cookie cutter way. Like nothing bothers me more when I go on Instagram and you get this one Instagram fitness influencer and they're like, you got to do it this way. You got to do a sauna, but it's got to be 72 degrees. And then you got to have this many electrolytes. And it's just Huberman. And I'm just like, no, I can't, I'm out. So the whole beautiful thing I think about tools like Willow is they allow people to like come in and explain, here's where I'm at. And then the trainer's like, okay, here's what I've got. And it allows them to like find a bridge and go, okay, well, if you can't do burpees because you've hurt your wrist, what can we do instead? And to quickly modify those programs to make them more approachable for that person. And to kind of bring it back to like, here's your goals. Like you want to fit into this wedding dress or you want to surf for the first time and you're 65. Here's how this program is going to help you do that. That's the kind of thing that I get really jazzed about, you know? So
it makes sense. And look, folks, if you're just joining us, we got Thom Lamb on. We're talking about a program he invented, his AI called Wilo.ai. You can look it up and you can see Thom on Instagram also, see what he's got going on there. So we've got this thing moving. Oh, look.
What?
One of my buddies is on. So Instagram's on a whole separate screen.
I'm just looking at you.
Yeah, like so my buddy Jim's over on Instagram, so I have to look over here to see him.
Okay.
But so the whole, and then Fiona just is joining us from all the way in Australia. So
nice. Hi, Fiona.
We got a little bit of everything going on.
Good day.
So as you're putting this together and you're getting ready to launch this thing out, like as I think about it, it sounds great, but the other side to it is I'm thinking to myself, how do you get this thing out so that people can actually go, oh yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give this a shot.
Yeah. That's a great question. That's the question. So that's a marketing problem. And you say that, like, I'm an engineer, so I'm a problem solver. I like to kind of look around the world and problems that interest me. It's fun for me to work with other people and figure out solutions. And I'm terrible at marketing because once I figured out the problem, I'm kind of just assuming that people will just beat a path to my door, right?
Right.
But you've hit the nail on the head. It's a very astute question: is how do you get people to give a shit about this? And actually, that's a distribution problem too. And by that I mean it's getting it to distributing into the hands of people that are going to care. So I thought perhaps what I would do, instead of trying to market this directly, like direct to consumer, I would talk to trainers and I would show them a smaller group of people that they themselves have a much larger network, each of them that they can then access. I'd make those people not champions. What's the word I'm looking for? Like fans of the app. There's a fancier word than that, but if I had time, I would ask an AI and it would tell me what it is. But somebody that's going to champion the app for me and be like, hey, I'm using this and it's making me more effective and I'm using it with you. And then and then once I have enough trainers actually using it, their clients are going to hear about it. They're actually going to be affected by it because the trainers are using it to help them. But I think that'll build up enough interest in it that it might start to bleed over into other people that aren't even working with trainers because they'll be using it on their phones and their friends will ask, like, what is this? So that's kind of the distribution strategy right now. That's how I get people interested in it is I show a smaller set of people that spend a significant amount of their time doing this of value. And also it's easier to monetize it then because if they have 30 clients and I can help with each and every one of their clients, it becomes a much more valuable thing than just one person who's going to be using it 3 or 4 times a week and might not be super interested. Does that make sense?
It does. And actually, as you're talking in my head, I can hear so we have like Vent Fitness is a big gym in my area. I could see them being like Vent Fitness, trainers powered by Wilo.ai,
Where there's a will, there's a way, by the way, is why it's called Willow. It's where there's a will.
I love it.
My dog's name.
Listen, I love the idea of it. Like powered by
Sorry.
Wilo.ai, personalized training powered by Wilo.ai. And the other side to it is, as an entrepreneur myself, when you hear people talk about, well, AI is going to take all of our jobs, I can tell you right now, one of the biggest things, I've worked with trainers, and unless that trainer has my mindset, like I'm like you, I hate to run. I'd rather take a sharp stick in the eye. Um, but
the strong
but
stance.
listen, brother, listen. But you know what? A buddy of mine, another Marine, taught me. He was like, "You don't need to run. Set the treadmill on its maximum elevation and put the speed at about a 2.5 or a 3 at the most." He goes, "And walk." And I'll tell you right now, I sweat like I owe the wrong people money just by doing that.
Yeah.
And I just think about something like this. If I had access to this in a gym where there was a kiosk that said, "Oh, welcome back, Sean. You did this last time. This is what we're doing today."
Yeah.
And I told it, I hate to run. Fine. This is what we'll do for your cardio.
Yeah.
I mean, is that what some of the goals we're looking for? I know personal trainers out there will be like, "You're not taking my job." Like, we got you there.
I
buddy.
got a story for you that I hope will
please.
answer those questions. So I work as a trainer on the side. I still like it. I love meeting people, sharing information, sharing stuff that I've done, my experience, working with other people, working with myself. Excuse me. I love meeting them and kind of like going, okay, here's how I'm going to help you and all that. And this entire project started because I hate saying the same thing twice. I get bored. And so, when you came to me and said, I hate running, and I was like, no problem, put the treadmill on, on 10 incline and maybe throw a pack on or something, that would feel great. And you'd get value. 5 other people walk up to me with the same question. I'm falling asleep. I'm not engaged. And as the trainer, I'm bored. See, the thing is that what AI can do a wonderful job of is I could take all the knowledge I have in my head about training and I can put it there. And when you need that one piece, it'll help you to find that one piece and then give it to you. So it'll pull that one piece of information out just when you need it. And then I can walk away and I can go work on new stuff. And that's why I don't see AI taking away people's jobs. I see AI freeing up people's time so they can work on new creative things. And then the old things can just be more navigable. It's like all of the solutions I had, because I used to have like files and files and files of all these training programs. And then I would spend more time trying to find the information. Like it was in there. It was in my Google Docs or it was in my Apple Notes. And I would just eventually I'd be like, you know what, I'll just write it out again, because trying to find it was very hard. So that's kind of what the AI does. It helps me navigate my previous experience and then share it with people that I might never meet, because I can actually just put that into the internet and have it served up. Does that
It does make sense. And it's interesting because Fiona just asked, get me the motivation to even get to the damn gym. Don't really make time, don't really have the will to engage. How can this help her to find the will to engage?
Okay. So a couple of answers. First answer, as a trainer, my challenge to you would be to go, it would be to stop trying to go to the gym this week, take a break from trying to go to the gym. And then on Monday, spend 30 minutes organizing the things in your house that you need to do to actually get to the gym. And then if you successfully pack the gym bag, put the shoes in on Monday, congratulations. On Wednesday, put that stuff in the car and set aside a time to go to the gym. And then Friday, go to the gym. The problem is that people put that first gym visit, they make it like this huge task, and they want to go. And not only do they want to go, they want to have the best workout they've ever had. And so they get there, they get halfway through a workout. They feel like they didn't accomplish anything. They're exhausted. They go home. They feel like, one, they didn't get any dopamine or whatever brain chemical says, good boy, you did a good thing. They don't get that because they've set their expectations way too high. Cut your expectations way down. Just every single one of those tasks, like going to the gym is actually like 12 tasks. So break it up into a few chunks, get some stuff done, pack the gym bag, set aside time, tell your partner you're going to go to the gym, join the fucking gym. That might help. All of these things are tasks. But the thing is, while it sounds like a lot, you'll get through them in a week or two, and then all of a sudden you'll find on week 3 you actually just end up driving down the road that takes you to the gym, and you won't even think about it, because that's how we build habits. We build habits incrementally, patiently, and we break it into the smallest chunk we can, so that we get that little spike of like, I did a good thing, then we sustain it, then we grow from it. So that's the kind of stuff that I can take time to explain to her. But if 5 more people today ask me that same question, I'm going to go talk to Willow, because I've already explained this.
I've been there, done that. So I'm trying to get my old CO. I just texted him to come on here. You and him could grunt at each other and be
lowly
perfect.
lieutenant and a light
Oh, he's a lieutenant colonel.
Yeah.
He's a retired lieutenant colonel, but he's 4% body fat. He is the original Mongo. It's like brother Thom. Like, I love the guy to death. If he called me up today and was like, Murph, I need you back out in Cali to do something.
Yeah.
I'd have to tell everybody,
right.
I gotta go. But he's also like the same guy who, like, I bet you at this point I've known him. We met in 2009.
Yeah.
And he had already been eating the same meal every day for like 11 years at that point.
What?
Oh no. Oh, you think I'm kidding? He is breakfast is oatmeal, nothing in it, just oatmeal. Lunch.
There's nothing wrong with oatmeal. Okay, I'm going to die on that hill.
Lunch is a chicken breast.
Yeah.
Brown rice.
Okay, so you're just saying he eats the right stuff and he just does it consistently.
But it's no, it's exactly the same thing.
I'm not feeling attacked. No, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Like, are you that guy too? I'm trying to get him I want him to engage with this, because I think he's a guy who's been so programmed into all these things. I just ate
pizza like half an hour ago. I got to be honest, but
oh yeah, but he's the guy who's been so programmed into these things that I'm curious how somebody like that, like, how can something like a Willow, when you get these guys, and maybe it's not designed, and Fiona says, I've never tried that, don't have a car, and to be honest, I would prefer to do things from home, can't afford the gym. I can help you with that, Fiona. Super easy. There is a difference between going to the gym and calisthenics. If you just every day do, while you're brushing your teeth, do calf raises. While you're sitting watching TV, you can do flutter kicks. It's absolutely just the simplest things like that.
Yeah.
Oatmeal every day, that's my jam. But I'm curious, on the other side, how can something like a Wilo.ai take somebody who is very, very, like, they're on that other level. They're at that extreme
orthorexic or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, like where he's got like that knowledge base. He knows he knows his body.
Yeah.
How does something like Wilo.ai help that person to move to the next level?
Well,
or is it not even for that person?
No, well, so I mean, I'm just going to relate my personal experience, because I may or may not be a little bit like that. And one of the challenges I've had is that I will put the gym, I kind of like, the joke, I use the gym as therapy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's supposed to be a joke. That's not supposed to be like actual good advice. I think that, well, now I haven't thought about, this is what I'd call an edge case, but while something like Willow is going to be focused on people that are trying to focus more on like programming, any good trainer is going to recognize when there's no more opportunities for optimization here. Like you've already strained the cottage cheese. The oats are already still cut. They're not, there's nothing that you're going to get any further. And then the thing that I kind of want to say, because I've gone through this myself, is there comes a point where you need to accept that you've got to do less, because there's other parts of your life that are important too. So that's, maybe that isn't the answer that they're looking for. But I kind of just, as a trainer, I'd actually feel like obliged to just mention that, of like, what exactly where do you see this going? Like, if you already have maximized your genetic potential and you're still seeking more performance, like, why? What is it that you hope to get when you're down to that last 0.5%? Like, at one point in my life, I deadlifted like over 800 pounds. I was 340 pounds. I was extremely strong. It didn't, I don't really feel like, I felt like I actually kind of wasted some time there. Just like kind of patting myself on the back and focusing on something that I'd already kind of learned everything I was going to learn from. And then I kind of had to take a step back and learn how to swim and actually, believe it or not, run. And I started training for triathlons. And I also quit drinking a couple of years ago. So I kind of just had to kind of go like, I get one life. How much of it do I want to spend on one very small part of it? Not to say that the gym isn't important. I love the gym. I've spent 35 years in the gym. Probably have only missed like 30 weeks in total my whole life. I tore my quadricep tendon 2.5 months ago and was told I'd be needing surgery and I'd spend 6 months like recovering. I'm riding a bike 2.5 months later. Fitness is important to me, but it's not the most important thing. And there's this balance that I kind of strive for in everything these days, whether it's business, whether it's relationships, whether it's anything. Is just like, I need a balanced life to be a happy person and to be a useful person. And you know what, a lot of that, and a simpler answer is, when you're done being an athlete, it's a great time to start thinking about being a coach, because you can pass these things on to the next generation. And for me, passing learnings that I've had about the gym to like younger athletes is an incredibly rewarding way to feel like every mistake I made in the gym, I can actually share with someone else so that they can grow from where I started from. I hope that's...
No, that does make sense. It's really about, and we're going to get into that next, because we talk about, you mentioned when we were kind of putting this all together about how Willow works on that outside piece, but we're going to talk about that inside piece here in a moment. But before we get into that, we're almost at that New Scotland last call here. So if you need to go ahead and fill your glass up, now is the time, because if you're looking for a spirit as
Sure.
bold and rich as New York history, New Scotland Spirits is crafting exceptional locally sourced whiskeys that tell a story with every sip. From grain to glass, we honor tradition while pushing the boundaries of flavor. Whether you're a whiskey connoisseur or just getting started, there's a bottle waiting for you. Raise your glass to true craftsmanship. Find New Scotland Spirits near you or visit newscotlandspirits.com to learn more. New Scotland Spirits, where history and flavor meet. So Rita says, pass it. Fiona says, I have to work. Fiona, I'm literally telling you, like, I do 30 calf raises every morning while brushing my teeth. It is this, and I learned this new thing. I learned this months ago. I now no longer brush my teeth with my right hand. I brush them with my left hand to force my brain to shift gears,
Yeah.
and to learn a different skill there. So it's worth it. And then Rita says, passing the torch. That's that coaching piece. So a lot of what we've talked about is that exterior stuff, that Wilo.ai. And again, folks, we're talking to Thom Lamb, inventor of Wilo.ai. It's an artificial intelligence to help with fitness. But how about the inside portion? What can Wilo do for like more of an interior fitness as far as nutrition, things like that? What can we do with Wilo with that?
For nutrition?
Right. So how can Wilo help with so if I told Wilo, like, hey, like you said, listen, I'm never going to train for a triathlon. It's never happening, bro. But if I told Willow, like, and if you want to do one, we have right here by me in the capital region of New York, they do what are they called? Micro triathlons, where they do those like there's one that's done like every Friday. Like it's weekly.
I did 2 very short triathlons last summer. I think it was it was like 1.5, 20, and 5, and then 1.5, 25, and 10. And they were excruciating because I'm 260 pounds.
But if I had Willow and I'm building
Anyway.
it, and I told Willow, like, hey, I wanna get physically fit to do a triathlon, will it give me also, like, hey, tell me about your diet and what nutrition you need to get into?
So the subject matter. Okay, sorry, I'll answer your question directly before I go like kind of meta on this. Yes, it will. Like, and so, you know, again, just a reminder, like right now it's just being used by trainers, so nobody's able to use it. But the goal is when it's actually in a proper public beta, which I have no timeline on, because I don't want to be rushed and I want to do it properly. At that point, you'd be able to say, yeah, put me together a nutritional plan. The other thing that would be more useful is you could engage in a conversation with Willow and actually, and this is what I find more effective. And this is actually a good example of what makes Willow really useful for a trainer that's trying to provide a lot of touch points with a client is I have people that text me their nutrition at the end of every day. And they'll say to me, a lot of times you'll come in, you'll say, hey, I want to do a triathlon. Tell me how to eat. And I'm like, tell me how you eat then. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, tell me how you eat. And they're like, yeah, but I want you to tell me what to do. And I'm like, why do I want to waste time writing down a list of 10 things you're never going to fucking do? Tell me what you do. What do you do? They're like, well, you don't want to hear it. It's not very good. I eat a lot of carbs. And I'm like, okay, one, you don't know what carbs are. So I don't know how you know them. Tell me what a carbohydrate is. And they're like, well, okay. So I'm being a little bit judgy right now because
be judgy because I've heard this stuff.
Let me ratchet that down. So what I do is I say, just tell me what you're eating, and don't, and then they start writing down what they eat. You know what happens after they write down what they eat for 4 days? They start eating better
because they see what they're actually eating.
Broccoli's better for you than bologna, and they write it down and they go, holy shit, I eat like shit. And the next day they eat a little bit better. It's amazing. It's called like reflecting on your behavior to improve it when you look at it objectively on a piece of paper. So the problem is that getting people to do that without saying every day, they don't like that. They want to be seen. And I'm not proposing that computers like replace listening as a thing that humans do for each other, but they could. One of the things I'm trying to get Willow to do is to go over it and give me insights and help me to kind of go like, okay, well, they consistently do eat like, they eat a little bit too much pasta or something. Maybe we could get them to eat more rice, something like that. Or, you know, if they're like, well, I'd like to know what my macronutrient split is. And it's like, cool, 1 second. This is what your macronutrient split is. Willow can do stuff like that.
What's a macronutrient?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know what the hell that is.
Some science. I like science.
I'm okay with science.
Okay.
We get sciencey.
Right. Okay, let's talk about science. So macronutrients are like nutrients that can comprise a large amount of the nutrition provided in food, and they typically are coming with calories. So proteins, fats, and carbohydrates are all macronutrients. Alcohol is also a macronutrient, but it's not one that's actually recommended by any doctor that has read a paper in the last 10 years. Okay, so proteins is that was a little bit of a dig, but I'm sorry. Yeah. I mean, hey, you do you. It just doesn't work well for me. Protein is 4 calories per gram. Carbohydrates are 4 calories per gram, and fat is 9 calories per gram. And so when you eat foods, one of the ways people describe the quality of a diet, and that's debatable whether it's a good way to describe it or not, but one of the ways they describe it is the ratio of like, 40% of my calories came from fat, 30% of my calories came from protein, and 30% came from carbohydrates. If you live off of, what's that stuff that you guys replace smoked meat with?
Oh no. You're
Scrapple. So if your diet's mostly scrapple, it's like, congratulations, like your diet is 150% fat and 3,000%
salt. 150% salt.
So that's what a macronutrient profile is. So being able not just to tell you what the profile is, but then unpack it and explain it and say, this is why, this is what that information provides. like this is what a macronutrient profile is, like what I just did. So it's really like kind of like a kiosk, you know, that's providing information for people as they're trying to navigate things like nutrition and training. Yeah.
I love everything, and I just want to clarify, it's Pennsylvania
Skadoodle.
Dutch original traditional made of pork scraps, cornmeal, and spices.
Pork
Served as a
scraps, cornmeal, and spices.
fried, sometimes topped with syrup.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Yeah, sounds amazing.
That's my brother Justin. It was great. Justin, I'm growing in the middle. So I mean, you bring up so many different things with this program that I tell you, man, I love it as somebody who is, and I kid you not, like I sat down and this was, I remember going online and I can't remember the name of the website. It's used to be able to buy like protein and all your stuff from
like
it.
bodybuilding.com?
That was it. It was bodybuilding.com.
Yeah,
And then they would have,
site.
and it would have all these workouts in it and you could watch
Yeah.
videos. And that's where the Dorian Yates one came from.
Yeah.
And it was perfectly built for me because it was like, go in, do 3 sets of one thing,
Yeah.
and then everything else you do is one set of 10 to warm up, and then max it out.
Yeah.
Whatever you can do till failure. Everything was
Yeah.
still failure, and it was a perfect workout for me because I'm not the guy who wants to spend the next freaking 3 hours in the gym.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be changing out a ton of weight. I don't.
Yeah.
I want to. And I don't want to. I just was never that guy.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, but when I hear about Wilo.ai, and again, folks, make sure that you go to your local gym who doesn't have it yet, and be like, "Why don't you have Wilo.ai?
Yeah.
Like, what are you waiting on?" And when they're like, "I don't know what this is," well, you can go like, "You need to call Thom Lamb."
Yeah,
and ask Tom.
Drop into my DMs on Insta there, and we'll hook you up. Yeah,
and take good care of you.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, thanks, because that's a reminder. Distributing through gyms is something that that needs to happen, and I just haven't got around to it yet. But
I mean, that just sounds like the perfect place to me. Is especially these places. Like, I'm not a big fan of Planet Fitness. I'm not, but I could see. I don't see. I need a gym to smell like someone.
Yeah.
There may be a body in the corner.
Yeah.
Any form of cardio in there may be broken.
Yes. Yeah.
And it makes like
Conquer Fitness. Yeah.
Yeah. It makes like a squeaky noise when you get on the treadmill. Like the whole time.
Dr. Frankenstein, all the exercise bikes, you might have one working exercise bike.
Yeah, like that's what I expect.
11 bench presses. It's like, this is a gym. This is where I belong.
Somewhere in that place, there's a set of like chain, just actual like chain in the place. Yeah, yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Amen. Yeah.
Yeah. That's to me, that's a gym. But I think about something like this where I think they have a challenge finding real legit trainers or, Susie Homemaker.
I worked for a large fitness company for 3 years, and I went from being a trainer to being like a regional director for a few provinces. I went up pretty fast. I got fired pretty fast too.
Congrats.
I have a habit of doing that. That's why I work for myself now. Not exactly.
That's how we do it.
But one of the things I did notice was there seemed to be a lot more focus on selling training than servicing training, which is kind of like, it is a business. Like, restaurants focus on selling food. There's nothing inherently evil about selling services. But it'd be nice to think that when you've bought the steak will be cooked correctly. And sometimes it seemed like training was sold. Thanks, Justin. I like working for myself. Sometimes my boss is a jerk, but it's fine.
I respect that completely.
But yeah, so I guess there's always been, there's a real opportunity there. Like, we've got some really successful fitness chains up here in Canada, Planet Fitness and a few others. And I think I'm definitely seeing a trend where they want their customers, their clients to be successful. They want them to be healthy. They want them to have wellness because, there's more to life than just profit. But also people that are happy and are having a great time at the gym are going to spread the word, and they're going to bring in more business. So yeah, I think, that's something I'd love to be able to help them with, that kind of problem of bringing knowledge so that people can find effective workouts without maybe necessarily having to hire a trainer. Yeah, but it's hard to
I
say.
think it's a game changer. I
Yeah.
really do. As I understand it better and better about Willow, it
Mm.
really sounds like a game changer to me. And Rita said we got
Yeah,
her
she's
standing
working
here
out.
exercising, knee to
Nice
elbow
job.
crunches. Listen, this is
Hey.
how I remember when I started martial arts many, many, many moons ago as a little guy in Baltimore. There was a place called Kim's Karate, and that was their big thing was when you're watching TV, you could be doing they didn't call it planks at that time, but they were like, you could be on
Thanks.
your like we call it planks now. They were like, you could
Yeah.
be on your elbow,
Yeah.
watching TV and all these things. Look, folks, if you're as we're getting ready to finish up, if you want to know what Tom's got going on again, you can check out Thom Lamb on Instagram. You
Yeah.
can look up some Wilo.ai, Wilo.ai, Wilo.ai. Make sure again, this is how life works. You go to your local gym and you walk in and you say, "Hey, I'd like to talk to the manager. I just heard about this thing called Willow AI on the Above the Bar podcast."
Yeah.
And it's like a personal trainer that you guys can run and help
Yeah.
me with the program. Do you have it? And when they go, "No, I don't have it," look at them and go, "Well, this is bullshit." And tell them, "I want you to get it. The guy's name's Thom Lamb,
Yeah.
THAM, Thom Lamb,
Yeah.
and he'll do it. He'll even if you're nice enough, he
Yeah.
will
No
deliver
tariffs. No nothing.
no tariffs on
Yeah.
this. He will deliver a plate of poutine with smoked meat
I
right to
will.
the gym
Yeah.
for you.
That's it.
And I want you to know something, Tom. Baltimore is not far from Canada in the sense of we like gravy fries. We don't do poutine, but we do gravy fries.
All right. Okay.
So it's
Well,
thick brown gravy on French fries.
that sounds
Brother,
delicious.
it is absolutely outstanding. But I will tell you, the cheese curds on there, it is a game changer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're just finding me through Tom or Tom through me, and you're going to join us again next week, because again, folks, we do this every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next week, we have a gentleman, his name, and I love his name, Nicholas Cassius Clay. He's the founder of Being One World LLC, a mindful company established in 2021 to offer coaching. But I think this is up your alley, Tom.
Okay.
Use holistic tools and modulated to cultivate a coherent heart and mind through coaching, but
Okay.
using holistic tools.
Wow.
And their mission is to guide and empower people to discover their authentic expression while maintaining a clear and balanced state of mind. Very interesting way to approach it. So he's into like Reiki, and he's a
Yeah.
life and success coach from Jay Shetty, neuro linguistics
Neurolinguistic
programming.
programming. Yeah.
He's like, listen, look at you. You're getting excited. I can see it already. You're all about it. So we're going to be talking next week. He's going to be joining us. And again, folks, like, share, and follow all these different things that we have going on. We do this every week. So as you know, now, Tom, I know you have sat down and you've binged all, and I got to look. It's like 200 and what are we up to? Somebody has to tell me. We're like 260, 270 episodes. We
Wow.
just hit and I'm a small guy in a big pond, but we did just through you talk about changes in fitness,
Yeah.
changes in podcasts. We did some changes. We've now gone in the last 3 or 4 months from about maybe 10,000 views on YouTube to 60,000 views.
Wow.
Which is a pretty big deal when I don't have Joe Rogan money backing me up.
I probably should have cleaned my beard up a little more.
Nah,
look
at this, man. You've got to compete against this beard. I've got a buddy of mine. You can see his picture right here. Can you see this sticker right here?
I can't actually.
You can't. Let me pull it this way.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's a buddy of mine, Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
He's literally a world champion beard grower.
Okay.
He has a 2-foot long goatee. This is legit, bro. His goatee is 2 feet long. It's absolutely insane. Yeah. So, but I imagine you've binged all these things and you've seen Aaron on here and all those kind of stuff. So you know what's coming next. And don't log off on me after this. I need to talk to you for a couple minutes after the show. Okay. But the guest always gets the final word. So what is the final word for tonight, brother?
I just want to say, Sean, thanks so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. Thanks to everybody that's listening to me yammer on for an hour. Hopefully, I made some sense. I had a great time getting to know you, Sean, and honestly, that's all I got to say, man. It's just gratitude and appreciation for being a part of it, being welcome to this community. And I hope everybody out there has a great night, and maybe go for a walk tomorrow. Keep it simple.
Alrighty, folks, be sure to push your stool in.
This has been a Second Front podcast presentation found on Apple, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found.